The ocean is immense and mysterious, but it can also be terrifying. While most marine creatures avoid humans, there are rare and chilling moments when the deep strikes back. Lurking in the world's waters are horrifying monsters, and on occasion, they've even launched terrifying attacks against ships. Here are 20 sea creatures that have attacked boats. Number 20. Unexplained creature in the deep sea. In a fascinating discovery, a remotely operated vehicle, ROV, captured unusual footage from the depths of the ocean. The camera, part of a research expedition led by NOAA scientists, recorded an extraordinary event near an oil tank roughly 1,700 feet underwater. As the camera pans across the scene, a group of fish appears. Suddenly, one fish stops moving, as if struck by an unseen force. The fish struggles in place, and then, in a blink of an eye, a strange creature zooms by, grabbing the fish in a flash. What makes this footage so intriguing is the speed and fluidity of the mysterious creature. Its movements were so fast that they almost seemed impossible to believe. Despite multiple analyses, experts have yet to identify what it could be. Some argue the footage may be fabricated using CGI, while others are convinced it's real. If it's a hoax, it's a remarkably convincing one. The creature's fluid, natural movements leave many skeptical about its authenticity. Could this be a new species we haven't discovered yet? Or is it something entirely unknown? Number 19. A strange creature in the Indian Ocean. In March 2013, a deep-sea dive camera captured footage of a truly bizarre creature in the Indian Ocean, about 3,753 feet below the surface off the east coast of Africa. The video, filmed by a remotely operated vehicle, ROV, shows a strange, glowing creature that seems to change shape as it descends into the depths. At first, it appears almost like a logo, but as the creature moves deeper, it transforms in ways that defy explanation. The creature begins to glow in vibrant colors, almost as though it is sporting an intricate tattoo. As it nears the camera, it puts on an impressive display by performing a rotational dance before splitting into pieces and darting away. This mysterious creature is unlike anything known to science, and no one has been able to identify it with certainty. Its behavior and appearance make it one of the most curious and elusive beings ever filmed in the deep sea. Unfortunately, there is very little information about this creature's origins or classification. For now, it remains an enigma, sparking interest and debate among oceanographers and curious minds alike. This footage is a reminder of the incredible mysteries that still await discovery in the unexplored depths of our oceans. Number 18. German U-boat encounter with a sea monster. In 1918, a chilling story surfaced about a German submarine being attacked by a sea creature in the Irish Sea during World War I. The tale became famous after 2 German U-boats were sunk by British forces. According to the crew of one submarine, a UB-3 class vessel, they reported an encounter with a massive and mutated creature. They described it as resembling a giant, mutated crocodile, unlike any sea creature they had ever seen. The creature caused so much destruction that the submarine had to surface, and once it did, the British forces quickly took it down. Over the years, this bizarre story gained traction, becoming one of those ocean mysteries that fired up people's imaginations. However, despite the crew's testimony, no one has ever come up with a solid explanation for what could have caused the submarine's damage. Some experts, including marine archaeologist Dennis McCartney, believe the story was likely a fabrication. McCartney suggests it may have been invented in the 1930s, when sea monster tales were circulating worldwide. Adding to the mystery, the wreckage of the submarine was located off the coast of Scotland just a couple of years ago. Researchers used sonar scans and imaging technology to inspect the wreck, yet no signs of claw or teeth marks were found that could suggest an attack by a sea monster. While the story remains an intriguing puzzle, it's likely that the damage had a more practical explanation than anything supernatural. Number 17. The mysterious lake creature. In 2013, something unexpected was caught on camera in Loch Foyle, located along the northern coast of Ireland. While filming a short movie, a group of men unintentionally recorded a giant creature moving through the water. Only a portion of the creature is visible on the clip, as most of it stays beneath the water's surface. However, the visible part is enough to confirm that this was no ordinary animal. Onlookers in nearby boats were left stunned by what they saw. Some even asked one another, "Do you think it's a monster?" The creature's size and appearance were baffling, and no one could provide a definite explanation. Theories about its identity ranged from the plausible to the fantastical. Some believed it could be a giant turtle, while others speculated it could be something more mysterious, like a sea monster. Years later, no one has been able to verify the creature's true nature. It hasn't been seen again, and its identity remains a complete mystery. What could it have been? Is it possible that there are still undiscovered monsters lurking in our lakes and seas? Until the truth is revealed, this remains one of the most intriguing unsolved mysteries from the waters of Ireland. Number 16. Bull shark's unexpected attack on a boat. Drones are revolutionizing the way we approach fishing. These high-tech devices are helping fishermen locate fish like never before. In Florida, a fisherman used his drone to spot blacktip sharks near the shore. However, what the drone discovered wasn't a blacktip shark, but something far more dangerous, a massive bull shark. As the drone continued its search, it also found a group of cobia fish nearby. Excited by the opportunity, the fisherman called his friend Carl, who was on his 30-foot fishing boat, to join him in catching the fish. Carl had no idea that his arrival would turn into an unforgettable encounter. The moment the boat neared the shark's territory, the bull shark became aggressive. It launched itself toward the boat with incredible force, slamming into the hull and targeting the motors. The shark hit the boat at least 7 times, each strike more intense than the last. The fisherman filming the entire event was stunned by the shark's behavior, noting it was unlike anything he had ever witnessed before. After the boat returned to shore, the damage was clear. The bull shark had broken off a plastic cover from one of the outboard motors. This wasn't a random attack. It was a powerful and enraged bull shark fiercely defending its territory. Now it's time for today's topic. The North Sea is known for its rough waters and unpredictable weather, but nothing could have prepared a group of fishermen off the coast of Norway for what they saw that morning. Their trawler was steadying against 6-foot waves when the sea suddenly grew unnaturally still. Then, without warning, the water exploded upward, and a massive sea creature burst through the surface with its jaws wide open. The fishermen froze as the enormous predator towered over their vessel, water cascading down its scarred body. Its teeth, jagged and bloodstained, looked capable of tearing apart anything in its path. Radios crackled as the men called desperately for help, convinced the creature was unlike any shark known to exist in the region. Local authorities later claimed it might have been a distorted sighting of a giant basking shark, but many of the crew insisted it was far larger, closer to the legendary megalodon. For days after, coastal towns buzzed with fear, and few dared to venture out to sea. Whatever it was, that terrifying breach in the North Sea left a mark none of them would ever forget. Number 15. A close encounter with a deadly shark. David Alexander, a school district superintendent from Santa Rosa, thought he'd found peace when he set out on his kayak early in the morning at Shelter Cove. It was the perfect way to escape the pressures of work, but what seemed like an idyllic morning quickly turned into a nightmare. As David paddled back to shore just before dusk, a sudden thud shook the kayak. Initially, he thought he had bumped into a rock, but when he looked down, he saw something far more terrifying, a massive shark beneath him. Without warning, the shark exploded from the depths, sinking its teeth into the front of his kayak. The force was so powerful that it tore the kayak apart, sending David tumbling into the water. Moments later, David found himself face to face with the shark, dangerously close to becoming its next meal. But against all odds, the shark let go, and David made it back to shore without further harm. His kayak, on the other hand, was destroyed. It was a harrowing encounter, one that left David lucky to be alive. Number 14. The lake monster of Seljord Lake. Seljord, nestled in the heart of Norway, has long been the center of chilling legends about a giant serpentine creature that dwells in its waters. Known as Selma, the creature has been a part of local folklore for centuries. The first reported sighting dates back to 1750, and since then, tales of its giant size and mysterious nature have captivated the imaginations of many. In 2012, a 17-year-old girl visiting the lake with her family captured a piece of footage that added fuel to these long-standing rumors. The video shows what appears to be an enormous, serpentine creature swimming just below the water's surface. The creature's body is long, undulating, and adorned with several noticeable bumps along its back, matching descriptions of the legendary Selma. The footage quickly became a topic of intense discussion and debate, with many suggesting it could be the real-life evidence of the Selma legend. The sighting sparked renewed interest in the creature, raising questions about whether such ancient myths might be based on real encounters. With modern technology and clear video evidence, could these old tales have some truth to them? As this footage continues to intrigue and captivate, it's a reminder of how some stories endure through the generations, even in the face of new technology. Number 13. The giant floating orb. In 2016, an eerie video surfaced from Ontario, Canada, showing a massive circular shape just below the water's surface. The footage, filmed near Alpha B, Genego, Rich, Ontario, reveals a giant orb hovering ominously in the water. Its sheer size immediately grabs your attention. For the first few moments, viewers are left trying to figure out exactly what they're seeing. The size of the creature appears almost otherworldly. At first, the video didn't generate much buzz, but over time, it started to spark debate. Some people suggested it might be a giant jellyfish. Others speculated it could be a massive ray, or even something more outlandish like a sea monster. The background audio captures the filmer's confusion and disbelief as they try to make sense of the sight. After some thought, the filmer jokingly throws out the idea of a giant sea monster. Despite all the theories, no one has been able to identify this enormous circular entity with certainty. Is it some undiscovered sea creature lurking beneath the surface? Or is there another explanation we haven't considered yet? The unanswered questions have kept people fascinated and wondering what else might be hidden in the waters of Ontario. Number 12. Hammerhead shark gets too close for comfort. In 2013, off the coast of Pompano Beach, Florida, a group of friends set out on a kayak for what seemed like an ordinary day on the water. However, they quickly realized that the ocean had other plans. While paddling, one of the kayakers noticed something strange beneath them. "It's a hammerhead, dude!" he yelled as the shark began to circle them. It wasn't just swimming by either. This hammerhead was actively stalking the group. The shark, a great hammerhead, is one of the largest species of hammerhead sharks, known for their T-shaped heads and impressive size, often reaching lengths of up to 13 feet. The hammerhead's head is equipped with sensory organs that help it detect electrical fields in the water, likely drawing it toward the kayakers. As the shark snapped at one of the paddles, the kayaker desperately used his oar to push the shark away. It was an intense standoff, but luckily, the group managed to fend off the predator. Still, the encounter left them all shaken. The hammerhead shark's behavior was a reminder that, even in the open ocean, you're never quite alone. Number 11. Otter escapes orca's clutches. While in Alaska's Halibut Cove Lagoon, a remarkable scene unfolded in 2013, where a lone otter found itself in a life-or-death situation. John Dornella was watching the drama unfold as an orca began playing with the otter, clearly toying with it before attempting to drag it under the water. The orca's intent seemed clear. It wanted the otter for lunch. But the otter wasn't giving up so easily. In a sudden burst of speed and agility, the otter managed to scramble onto John's boat, escaping the orca's reach. The orca, frustrated by its failed attempt, began splashing around in the water, as though throwing a tantrum. Meanwhile, the otter lay safely on the boat, seemingly grateful for the unexpected rescue. John, still in disbelief, watched the situation unfold and decided to let the otter stay on the boat until the danger passed. Eventually, the orca swam away and the otter scampered off, likely none the worse for wear. It was a surprising moment of quick thinking and luck, proving that sometimes, even in life-threatening situations, a lucky escape can make all the difference. Number 10. Sunk by giant jellyfish. One of the ocean's most terrifying creatures isn't a shark or a squid, but a massive jellyfish called the nomura. These jellyfish have been known to reach over 6 feet in width and can weigh up to 400 pounds. They might seem harmless at first, but in large numbers they can cause serious problems. In Japan, a fishing boat encountered these giant jellyfish in such large quantities that it resulted in a catastrophic incident. The fishermen were hauling in a net filled with nomura jellyfish when they realized they were in trouble. A massive swarm of jellyfish had gathered in the waters between Japan and the Korean peninsula, and the crew accidentally began pulling them in with their nets. The weight of the jellyfish was so overwhelming that when the crew tried to pull in the net, the boat couldn't handle the load. The pressure from the jellyfish caused the boat to tip over and sink. Fortunately, another trawler nearby rescued the 3 fishermen before things got worse, but the impact of the jellyfish invasion was more far-reaching. The presence of these giant creatures caused some fishing boats to stop operating, and many fishermen lost up to 80% of their income. Even more worrying, the jellyfish clogged the pumps of nearby nuclear power plants, causing technical disruptions. The reason for this strange jellyfish migration remains a mystery. But one thing is clear, the nomura jellyfish can cause significant damage when they gather in massive numbers. Number 9. The An Alexander and the Sea Monster. In 1851, the whaling ship An Alexander set out on a journey that would end in disaster at the hands of one of the ocean's most formidable creatures, a sperm whale. On August 20th, Captain John de Blois and his crew were over 3,000 miles off the coast of South America when they spotted a massive whale. Its size was so intimidating that the crew quickly launched 2 whaleboats, one led by the captain and the other by the first mate. The first mate harpooned the whale, but instead of retreating, the creature turned and began attacking. With terrifying power, the whale opened its enormous jaws and destroyed the first whaleboat in a single crushing bite. The crew scrambled to safety, with the captain rescuing the men who were left stranded. 12 of the crew members were now in a single boat, far from the An Alexander, but still dangerously exposed to the enraged whale. After a tense escape, the crew returned to the ship and took another shot at the whale. A second harpoon struck the creature, but this only provoked it further. In a final, violent assault, the whale charged the An Alexander, ramming its massive body into the ship's hull below the waterline. Water flooded in, and within moments, the Alexander was sinking. The crew of 22 men had no choice but to abandon ship, helplessly watching their vessel disappear beneath the waves as the victorious whale swam away, seemingly unharmed. Number 8. Killer whale attack. Victor Littlefield was enjoying a calm afternoon on his 33-foot aluminum boat with his teenage son and 2 of his son's friends. It was supposed to be a relaxing Sunday, but things took an unexpected turn when the boat was struck with intense force. Initially, Victor thought they were under attack by a great white shark. However, to his shock, the attacker was a killer whale, also known as an orca. The orca repeatedly rammed the boat, each collision more powerful than the last. Then, in a strange twist, the whale grabbed the boat's anchor and yanked it around, tossing the boat like it was a toy. The situation escalated when the orca swam beneath the boat, slapping it with its tail. Victor, along with his son and their friends, was terrified as they realized they were facing an unusually aggressive orca. After several minutes of chaos, the whale finally swam away, dragging the anchor line behind it. Miraculously, no one was injured. To this day, Victor has no idea what prompted the orca's attack, and the mystery remains unsolved. Despite the scare, it's an experience that none of them will ever forget. The orca's unexpected behavior was a rare and frightening reminder of how unpredictable nature can be. Number 7. Squid attack, a battle beneath the waves. In the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, a French yacht participating in a round-the-world sailing race had a terrifying encounter with one of the ocean's most mysterious creatures, a giant squid. Veteran yachtsman Olivier de Kersauzon was at the helm when he first felt strange vibrations shaking the boat. Thinking it might be a malfunction, he sent one of his crew members below deck to investigate. What they found was far from a technical issue. Enormous tentacles, thick and powerful, were wrapped around the yacht, pulling with alarming force as if a giant creature was trying to drag the vessel under. The crew quickly realized that they were face to face with a giant squid. It was clear that the creature had no intention of releasing its grip. Thinking quickly, Olivier stopped the yacht, and for a brief moment the squid released its hold, but their relief was short-lived. As the crew looked back, they saw the squid hovering beneath the water, a giant shadow with eyes that seemed to watch them. The creature, estimated to be around 30 feet long, was capable of sinking the yacht if it chose to. Olivier, who had decades of experience at sea, admitted he had never encountered anything so terrifying. Though the crew escaped unharmed, the encounter left them shaken. The giant squid's attack was a haunting reminder of the vast and mysterious creatures lurking deep in the ocean. Number 6. Whale encounter turns dangerous for kayakers. In 2015, 2 tourists in Monterey Bay, California got far more than they expected during a kayaking adventure. Charlotte Kinloch and wildlife filmmaker Tom Mustel set out with hopes of seeing humpback whales in their natural habitat. But what happened next was beyond anyone's wildest imagination. As they paddled through the waters, a massive humpback whale approached them. Before they could react, the whale breached right next to them, sending their kayak flipping over into the water. The enormous whale landed just a few feet away, creating a massive splash. Witnesses on the shore shouted in surprise, "He knocked it over!" Charlotte and Tom were tossed into the cold water, but fortunately, they were unharmed. The kayak was upturned, but they managed to survive. Onlookers quickly helped bring them back to shore, still in shock. Despite the terrifying experience, Tom later described the event as something he would never forget. "It was like a bus blocking out the sun," he said. Though humpback whales are usually peaceful creatures, this behavior was unusual. Experts like Professor Joy Riedenberg believe the whale may have been startled by the kayakers, leading to its erratic movement. Despite the encounter's close call, Tom's curiosity about humpback whales only deepened. "We search so hard for aliens outside this planet, yet we know so little about the giant minds of creatures like humpbacks," he mused. Number 5. Death by swordfish, a harrowing encounter. On August 19, 1886, Captain Franklin D. Langsford from Massachusetts set out for an afternoon of fishing in his small dory. Leaving the larger schooner behind, he headed about 8 miles offshore near Ipswich Bay where he spotted a swordfish. With its sharp bill cutting through the water, the swordfish looked like a worthy challenge. Captain Langsford wasted no time, giving chase and eventually harpooning the fish, securing the line to a buoy. Confident that the fish was as good as caught, he left the buoy and headed back to the main vessel for a break. About an hour later, he returned to pull in the catch, eager to complete the hunt. As he grabbed the buoy and began to pull himself along the line, he readied himself to finish off the swordfish. But suddenly, the fish made an unexpected move. With astonishing speed, it turned and charged straight underneath the boat. Without warning, it drove its razor-sharp bill upward, impaling Captain Langsford right through the bottom of the dory. The swordfish's massive snout got wedged in the boat's wood, trapping both the captain and the vessel in a deadly struggle. After some time, the crew found him and hoisted both the dory and the fish aboard the schooner. Sadly, despite their efforts to save him, Captain Langsford succumbed to his injuries 3 days later. The swordfish's vicious defense proved deadly, and it remains one of the most shocking encounters in maritime history. Number 4. Great white shark jumps into boat. Sometimes the unexpected happens, and you're left wondering how it even occurred. This is exactly what happened to one Australian fisherman. Out fishing on his 15-foot boat, Terry Selwood was minding his business when something unbelievable happened. A giant great white shark, weighing in at 440 pounds, launched itself straight into his boat. Great white sharks are the largest predatory fish, capable of growing up to 20 feet long and weighing over 5,000 pounds. Known for their sharp senses and predatory instincts, they can detect prey from great distances even when it's not in the water. But Terry, who was fishing on his boat and not even in the water, had no idea he was about to become part of this shark's path. The great white's leap sent Terry flying, leaving him with bruises and cuts. He feared his arm might have been broken from the impact. As the shark thrashed around, Terry rushed to the bow of the boat to escape its path. Using the boat's radio, he called the Coast Guard for help. At first, the Coast Guard wasn't entirely sure about the situation's severity, but they quickly realized the danger and rescued Terry. Despite some damage to the boat and fishing equipment, Terry was fortunate to survive the encounter with the massive shark. Number 3. Great white shark turns aggressive toward boat. In 2018, Keith Poe's fishing trip off the coast of Los Angeles took a turn for the worse when his boat became the target of a great white shark. Initially, Keith assumed the impact on his boat was from a passing sailboat. But as the force of the strike became clear, it quickly dawned on him that something much more dangerous was at play. Over the next 3 days, Keith's boat was struck a total of 7 times by the aggressive shark. The attacks typically occurred around sunrise or sunset when the waters were still, making the shark's movements even more ominous. The largest of these sharks was an 18-foot monster, a true apex predator. The cause of the shark's aggression was linked to the carcass of a humpback whale, known as Wally, which had washed up on the shore. The decaying whale had drawn sharks to the area, creating a feeding frenzy. Despite attempts by authorities to remove the whale, the dead animal kept drifting back to shore, continuing to attract the sharks. Unable to feast on the whale, the sharks redirected their frustration at Keith's boat. While the boat suffered damage, Keith and his crew emerged from the ordeal unscathed. Number 2. Blob of the Gulf. In 2012, a strange creature was captured on an underwater dive recorder in the Gulf of Mexico at a depth of about 25,000 feet. The footage shows a jelly-like entity moving freely with the currents. For nearly 10 years, it has sparked endless theories and speculation about its true nature. As the creature floats in the deep ocean, it stretches and contracts its gelatinous body in a way that's both bizarre and alien-looking. At first glance, researchers compared it to a drifting plastic sheet, but closer inspection revealed an intricate network of veins or channels running through its translucent form. Some experts suggested it might represent a completely undiscovered species, while others thought it could be an unusually massive siphonophore, a colonial organism made up of smaller interconnected beings. The fact that it seemed to pulse with an almost rhythmic motion only deepened the mystery, leading some to speculate it might possess a primitive circulatory system. Internet forums lit up with wild theories ranging from deep-sea alien life to a government experiment gone wrong. Marine biologists who reviewed the footage admitted they had never seen movement patterns quite like this in any known jellyfish or gelatinous creature. One particularly striking moment came when the creature drifted near the camera lens, giving the chilling impression of an eye-like structure peering back. For many viewers, that single frame was enough to spark years of debate and fascination. Over time, the creature grows larger on camera, revealing a thin outer layer with visible vascular patterns inside. This sight made it appear even more unlike anything previously known. At one point, the camera seems to show what looks like internal organs. While many believe it could be a rare species of giant jellyfish, its exact identity remains unconfirmed. This fascinating creature captured the world's attention, and for 6 minutes, it held viewers in suspense before sinking back into the dark, cold waters. The ocean continues to surprise us with strange creatures like this one. It reminds us that there's so much more to explore beneath the surface, and some mysteries may remain hidden for years to come. Number 1. Crushed by a whale. A kayaker's close call. Imagine you're on a kayak, out on a peaceful tour, when suddenly the water beneath you erupts in chaos. That's exactly what happened to a 35-year-old British tourist in Monterey Bay, California. While on a kayaking excursion, the man was hoping to spot a few humpback whales, but he got more than he bargained for. A massive humpback, weighing a whopping 33 tons, breached the surface right in front of his kayak. Witnesses on nearby boats gasped and shouted warnings as the enormous whale seemed to rise straight out of the depths like a submarine breaking the surface. The sheer power of the breach sent waves crashing outwards, rocking kayaks and small vessels in the vicinity. For a split second, the kayaker recalled, the moment was beautiful, the great animal silhouetted against the blue California sky. Then terror struck, as he realized the whale's trajectory was heading directly for him. Tour guides later said it was one of the closest and most dangerous whale breaches they had ever seen in the area. Even seasoned marine biologists on shore expressed astonishment at the rare and frightening encounter. Before he could react, the whale came crashing down on top of him, belly flopping onto the kayak with an immense force. The kayaker was thrown underwater and tossed around violently, struggling to get back to the surface. Miraculously, he didn't sustain any major injuries, but the experience was harrowing. He described the whale's size as so enormous that it completely blocked out the sun as it soared through the air. What was even more surprising was the smell. After the ordeal, the kayaker reported the whale smelled awful, a stench that made the entire situation even more unforgettable. This terrifying encounter was a reminder of just how unpredictable nature can be, especially when you're out on the water in a tiny kayak. Would you really feel safe out on the water knowing creatures like these could be lurking beneath the waves? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.